Hi, everyone. It's Alec Crawford, your host for the AI Risk Reward podcast. And our very special multi talented guest this week is Jason Barnard, CEO and founder of Kalicube. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Alec. It's absolutely delightful to be here.
That is so fabulous and fabulous to have you here. And of course, I'm just going to kick this off with a not quite random question, which is how does a musician end up getting a degree in economics?
It's the other way around. How does somebody with a degree in economics become a musician? And actually, I moved to Liverpool to take my degree in economics because it was the easiest degree I could find. Apparently, Liverpool and Harvard are very much the same for that, according to you, Alec,
Yes,
is that
totally true.
economics is the easiest subject you can take. And I met a guitar player who said, do you want to play in a band? And we formed a band together. And what was wonderful is I suddenly became a musician when I had never been a musician before.
Wow, that's super, super cool. And then other part of your background I noticed is that you played hockey for the French champions and
Ah,
handball for the English champions. So how did that happen?
yeah, that's kind of a bit cheaty. Is if you pick the sport that the country is the worst at, you get to play for a really good team, even though you're not very good. So the English are very bad at handball. So I got a place with the English champions. And the French are very good at handball. So when I moved to France, I played field hockey. The French are very bad at field hockey. So I got a place on the champions team. So I actually played for the national champions of the UK and France for different sports by choosing the sport that that country was really bad at.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember Cool Runnings, the Jamaican bobsled team movie,
Yes.
which was pretty funny as well, right? Like, oh, we're choosing from five people in the entire country, basically, right? That's
Yeah,
pretty funny.
okay. So you can imagine that for me with handball and hockey.
I'm going to wait for the movie. I'm gonna wait. It's not Spinal Tap or Waiting for Guffman, but it could be funny. Um, so and then you'd mentioned a book which you said this book saved my life. Confucius from the Heart. So pitch our audience on the book.
Um, I was in a really bad place for multiple reasons, and it gave me an approach to life that made me feel comfortable with myself. A lot of the stuff Confucius says is out of date, but there's a huge amount in there that helps you feel very much confident and comfortable in yourself, who you are,
Mhm.
and your relationship with the rest of the world. And it really helped me. It pulled me out of the biggest, deepest hole that I've been in.
Everybody ends up in a hole sooner or later, so that's a great book to know
Mm.
about. So you come out of school with your degree in economics.
Hmm.
You're playing in a band all over the place. What was your first kind of legit job then at that point?
I've never had a proper
Ah!
job. Literally, I've never had a 9 to 5 job in my entire life.
Wow. Wow.
And I can't imagine what it would be like. I mean, at my age now, 59, I'm looking at the world and I'm thinking, well, if anybody did ever employ me, I would be unbearable
Right.
because I've
World
never,
worst employee. Yeah, exactly.
yes. Well, there's no structure. I do what I need to do. I move forwards the way I need to move forwards. I was an economist doing my degree. Then I was in a band, professional. But we just played gigs and I organized gigs and I traveled Europe playing gigs. Then I made cartoons and I created my own company to do that. And now I have Kalicube, which is my current company. I've always been my own boss and I've always managed to make a living without having a proper job.
Yeah, perfect. So you did mention a mentor, Itamar Morani. So tell us about Itamar.
Yeah, he's the most recent mentor in that he has helped me move from being the guy who builds everything, the guy who understands how Google and AI function, how they think, how they represent brands, how we can manipulate them to represent ourselves and our companies the way we want, to becoming the CEO of a company with people who actually make that happen. And that's huge. Moving from the doer to the overseer, the visionary, maybe, is a huge, huge, huge move forwards to me. And the other thing he taught me was to remove the emotion from business, which I've been very bad at. And now I look at
super hard for anyone to do that. If they've owned their own company for a while, it's just super hard.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Kalicube is my baby. Up to 10 was my previous company. That was my baby. WTPL Music was the company before that. That was my baby. And I got caught out in both the first two companies. And now Kalicube is my baby, but it's a pragmatic business baby. And what I'm doing in my own world, which is understanding how Google and AI understand brands and how we can manipulate change, refocus these algorithms, is a different question. How do we make money from that is Kalicube.
Yep. Yeah, totally makes sense. Well, it makes sense to talk about the origin story of Kalicube. So you've had these three companies, music related, videos for the 1 to 10 crowd, and then moving on to Kalicube. What was the transition there like? Because those are obviously pretty different things. What was the light bulb moment that made you want to start Kalicube?
Well, with Up to 10, I got too emotionally involved because I was the blue dog in the cartoon that Up to 10 was making most of its money from. And I didn't really separate the business from the character and my own input, my emotional investment in that character. So when I exited the company, I needed a new start and I moved into digital marketing. But when people searched my name, they would find Jason Barnard as a cartoon blue dog.
Right.
And
Ooh.
it cost me so many deals. People that I talked to face to face saying, yeah, okay, let's do a deal. This is $10,000 a month. Jason, you're going to manage our digital marketing strategy. And they would suddenly disappear.
Right.
And they would disappear because
Jason Barnard is a blue cartoon dog. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I sat down one day and I thought, okay, I can change this. I can make Google show me the way I want. And I got it to show me as an entrepreneur, CEO, and digital marketer. And then I realized everybody has this problem. This is a universal problem that I can solve. So I founded Kalicube and built Kalicube Pro, which is a SaaS platform with 3 billion data points, algorithms I've written, and a tech layer that we've built out that educates AI from the outside about who you are, what you do, who you serve, and why you're a credible solution.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool. That's great. And are there examples of clients you can give us if you're allowed to, or?
Yeah, well, this guy here, Scott Duffy, came to us and said, well, there's another guy called Scott Duffy who has 1 million students on Udemy. I want to dominate that Scott Duffy. And I sold a company to Richard Branson. I would like that to show up when people Google my name. We made that happen for him. He's our longest serving client, or we're the longest serving. So Scott Duffy is a great example. Jonathan Cronstead from Kajabi, president of Kajabi, came to us and said, well, actually, I built Kajabi to be this multi-billion-dollar company. But I don't want to be known for Kajabi. I want to be known as a business strategist and an investor. Can you help make sure that Google and AI present me as a business strategist and an investor rather than the president of Kajabi? We made that happen for him.
Oh,
so those are two great examples of personal brands that we've pivoted.
That's great. Well, look, I mean, what's interesting to me is if a few years ago you went to a 10-year-old and said, hey, tell me about the Magna Carta. What are they going to do? They're going to go Google Magna Carta, and then they're going to get the answer. You go to a 10-year-old today, they're not going to Google. They're actually going to ChatGPT or Gemini or maybe Perplexity or Claude and asking that same question and getting the answer. So I'm sure something similar is going on with branding, where you can't just like put out some Google ads and hope for the best, right? Like now you got to figure out how to get AI to properly represent your brand. So talk a little bit about that. How do you, or how should we strategize around that?
Which is a great question. I came at this from 2012 for my own Google business card. You searched my name, it said Jason Barnard is a cartoon blue dog. That was a problem. I changed that to Jason Barnard is an entrepreneur, CEO, and leading digital marketer. The fact is that in order to make that happen, I had to change my digital footprint. By changing my digital footprint, I changed the focus of Google. And when ChatGPT came out in 2022, ChatGPT got it. ChatGPT was saying the same thing. Then Perplexity, then DeepSeek, then AI mode in Google. And the fact is that all of these machines are looking at your digital footprint to understand who you are, what you do, who you serve, and why you're credible. So if you can control your digital footprint, which you can control how these machines represent you. And in fact, how they amplify you. Because if I can convince ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Google AI mode, Gemini, Copilot, that I am the world expert in Google Knowledge Panels, the world expert in online reputation management, the world expert in personal brand management in AI, they will amplify my voice to people who are interested in those topics. And that's exactly what I've done.
Yeah. Well, that totally makes sense. And so shifting gears a little bit, well, what concerns you about AI in general, not just for marketing?
The amount of junk that's now being created, I think 3 years in, we're really starting to suffer from an overpopulation of junk that doesn't make sense, that doesn't help, that doesn't resonate, and people trying to take advantage. And I would hope that Instagram, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, ChatGPT will be able to take some kind of control of that, but it's difficult to see quite how they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, that sounds difficult. And it's like there are so many problems that the casual user doesn't even see or know about. I remember there was an article stating that, and again, I don't know if it's true or not, that Facebook had basically become the message board for child trafficking, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure they're trying to do something about it, but probably have not solved the problem, I would imagine. But
no, and with AI, that's for me, the whole point is if you can take control today, you've got a good chance in the future. And if you don't take control of your brand, personal, corporate, or product brand today, in the future, how on earth are you going to change these things when they've got it wrong?
Yeah. So I heard a story about a very large, very famous beverage company, and someone created a basically fake video of them closing down a production facility in the U.S. near the border of Mexico, and claimed that they had, fired a bunch of Mexicans and shipped them back over the borders. Like, none of this was true, by the way. This is all completely made up. And it went viral, literally to the point where you had Mexicans boycotting this beverage brand, and they kind of never recovered from that with that particular audience, because whether or not it's true or not, it's kind of now part of their psyche or whatever you want to call it. But I think part of the problem was it just kind of got out of control before the company had any idea it was even happening, right? So along the lines of that story, in digital marketing, what should companies be worried about, and what can they do about a situation like that where fake news generated by AI maybe is going viral?
That's a kind of very specific, very difficult problem to deal with because it goes so fast and it's so widespread. What you need to do as a normal sized brand who isn't a huge international beverage brand, as you said, is take control of your brand narrative today. Make sure that the AI understands which website represents your brand, personal or corporate, because that's the only way you'll have any kind of control. What all of the AI is looking for is where is the single source of truth from the person or the corporation about the person or the corporation. And that is key because that is where they will look for your version of the truth. And that is your only hope of any kind of control.
Yep, that totally makes sense. Yeah, and what the AI appears to be doing is going to kind of pretty basic spots like LinkedIn
Yes.
or corporate websites and things like that. It's not scraping through Reddit looking for rumors or something like that at the start, at least, unless you tell it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of going back to AI, do you think that AI can truly replicate human creativity in the future?
I'd love to think not. And what I've seen so far makes me think no. What it can't do is replicate what I did on Saturday, which is a friend of mine who owns the jazz club opposite said, come and play guitar and sing a song in front of a lot of local people. I did that. Everybody danced. Everybody was clapping. Everybody was singing. It was completely improvised. It was delightful. Everybody's very happy. AI can't do that. And I think that's possibly where our human relationships and the human feeling and the human creativity will be saved is one-on-one, live, real relationships.
Yeah. And how do you view AI? And we're really talking about it from a corporate standpoint, right? Like, how do you envision marketing, sales, branding
Oh,
evolving over the next few years with AI? Because obviously, look, AI today is the worst it will ever be, right?
yeah.
In the future, going forward, right? So, just curious about your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think we need to look at AI, ChatGPT, Google AI Mode, Microsoft Copilot as the funnel. It's the acquisition funnel. It's a conversation between a machine and a person where the machine guides the person down the acquisition funnel, and that machine is the trusted advisor. It's the biggest influencer we will ever know. Trillions of conversations with billions of people every day, and those people trust the machine. So if you as a marketer consider that you need to feed these machines with your funnel and make yourself top of algorithmic mind, i.e. the first company or person the machine thinks about when somebody's asking about a question or a problem you can solve, then you can win the game. But
Yep.
if you start thinking, I need people to visit my website, you're going to lose.
Yeah. That totally makes sense to me. So that seems like very good advice. How about the best advice you've gotten as a business owner times three?
Um, I got the advice that I need to separate my emotion from the company. The company is one thing and it's a very pragmatic beast. And that if I treat it like a pragmatic beast that needs to be fed, needs to be protected, and that my emotions just get in the way, if I can put my emotions, identify my emotions and put them to one side, make that pragmatic decision that serves the company, everything's going to be much better. And my emotions, I keep them for my personal life, for playing music in front of my friends across the street. The company is a pragmatic business entity that I need to prioritize and protect when I'm working in the company. And my emotions need to be left at the door. Very difficult to do, but when you do it, the company goes much better.
Yep. Great advice. Absolutely great advice. Now, of course, you're living in the south of France now, so you're obviously not retired. You're still working, but how about a little advice about France? Like, where should people visit? What should people do? This sounds like you're having a great time there.
Yeah, Paris is brilliant. Paris is full of life. Some people can be rude, but that's true of any big city. So I think turning up in Paris and saying all French people are rude is unfair, because people are rude in any major city. Paris is worth the effort, and I would spend the time, or make the effort to spend the time there to truly get into the life of Paris over 5 or 6 days, because it's beautiful, it's fun, there's a lot going on. And then if you come to the south of France, where I am, near Montpellier, it's sunshine, great food, great wine, great cheese, very friendly people, lots going on. And yeah, no, I'm not retired, but it feels a little bit like it.
That's awesome. Now, at the start of our show, we had a chat about the pronunciation of your last name, Barnard, and you said it was very important, the pronunciation. So tell the audience that story.
That's because AI and Google will suck in the audio from this podcast, and they will misunderstand if you don't say my name correctly. And there's a guy called Jason Ber, and Google constantly confuses me with that person, because people don't say my name correctly. So I used to say, I don't mind how you say my name, because I literally don't mind. But Google and AI do. It has to be Barnard, and it has to be very clear.
Wow, that is super, super wild. Well, so far, when you search for me on various things, I show up. But if you had searched 10 years ago, it would have been the footballer, Alec
Right.
Crawford, or there's also a newscaster, Alec Crawford. But now I have gotten my ranking above them.
Brilliant.
So-
And that's one of the huge problems that AI and Google have, is when I say Alec Crawford, who do I mean?
Yes. Yeah,
And
you have to say Alec Crawford from Connecticut, or CEO of AI Risk, or whatever, and then you'll get the right one. And so to figure out the three of us, you have to say footballer, journalist, or AI
yeah,
person, basically, and you'll get the right one. But at least it's obvious that we're different people. That's the good news.
that is very good news, because that isn't as obvious as people would imagine. That ambiguity of people's names is a huge problem for Google and for AI.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. So we're going to head into the last section of the show, which is called underrated or overrated. But first, I think if you want to talk a little bit more about Kalicube and what you do, that would be great, I think.
We help people take control of their personal brand narrative in Google and AI. And we help them to amplify whatever work they're doing on their personal brand through Google and AI. Because as I said earlier, Google and AI are the biggest influencers in the world. People use them because they trust them. They're having trillions of conversations with billions of people every day. And if you want to reach your ideal audience, the best way is to get Google, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot to recommend you as the best solution to the problem. So we mold and create the personal brand that entrepreneurs need to be front and center at the critical moment when Google and AI are about to recommend the best solution to the problem that that person can solve.
Excellent. All right. So underrated or overrated. Let's start off with living in the south of France. Underrated or overrated?
Absolutely honest. Everybody says it's brilliant, and it is.
Okay, the show IT Crowd.
Absolutely perfect. Everybody
Mhm.
says it's brilliant, and it is.
Yeah, great, great TV show. I'm not sure where it's streaming now, though, if you happen to know offhand.
Not off the top of my head, but I've
Yeah,
watched it so many times I don't need to
yeah,
see it
it's got.
streaming. I can probably cite every script.
All right, we'll track that down and put it in the show notes. Watching live jazz music, underrated or overrated?
Absolutely right there in the middle. Perfect. People say it's brilliant, and it is brilliant.
Yeah. Uh, Getting your baguettes, your daily baguette while you're in Paris, underrated or overrated?
The thing is, I keep saying the same thing. It's exactly what people think it is. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah,
You get the smell of the baguette, and you crush it between your fingers, and it goes, and it feels so good, and it smells so delicious.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely you feel like a French person for a day when you're doing that. All right, well, switching gears, we'll go to Milton Friedman as an economist, underrated or overrated?
Overrated. I hate him. I can't bear what he was saying, and he ruined the world economy.
Yeah, he didn't do such a great job. Oh well, sorry, Milton.
Ah!
Uh, Paying for Google ads, underrated or overrated?
Mistake. Generally speaking, Google don't do you any favors.
Yeah. Visiting the city of Bordeaux, France, underrated or overrated?
Underrated if you love wine. Overrated if you love jazz music.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Escargot, also known as snails with butter and garlic, underrated or overrated?
Overrated by the French, underrated by everybody else.
And last but not least, the movie Some Like It Hot.
Underrated. Best movie ever in the entire universe, simply because I was not a double bass player. I was a singer. And I saw Some Like It Hot. And the next day, somebody said to me, if you want to be in our band, you need to play the double bass. And I'd just seen Jack Lemmon, how happy he looked playing the double bass. So I bought a double bass, and it changed my entire life.
Wow. Amazing. A movie that changes your life. Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you for coming on the show. This has been Jason Barnard, CEO and
Thank you.
founder of Kalicube. Thanks for coming on the show.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Alec.